Welcome to Hotel Crush, the podcast that's going to replace TripAdvisor. Hosted by two industry professionals, a hotel developer and a hotel designer, we come together to share all the things we crush on at our favorite hotels. Each episode, we interview someone from the hotel, the owner or GM, plus a surprise celebrity. You'll listen in anticipation, laugh, and learn what creates an unforgettable hotel experience. We really care about hospitality. Welcome to an all-new Hotel Crush. Hey, Bashar.
Hey, what's happening?
Wow, you jumped on early for our call.
I did.
Nice. And I was actually out taking a jog.
A jog?
I know. I'm showered and I'm all shaggy. My hair is all wet and shaggy.
Perfect. Life is grand.
Awesome. Great. Well, you look amazing. For the listener out there, Bashar has these super cool headphones and a shaved head.
I feel like Janet Jackson sometimes.
Freshly shaved head, I might add. You know what? I was telling my 3-year-old daughter that at any given moment, you're free to change your mind. If your favorite color one day is red and then the next day your favorite color is blue, totally fine.
Right? There is. It's funny because I talk a lot about this non-binary world that we live in anymore. It's not black and white, it's right or wrong. Like, yes, the answer is yes. Whatever it is, the answer is yes. Why not?
I live in a yes world. I try to say yes to everything.
Why not? Why not is my yes. I'm like, sure, why not?
Yeah, maybe that's how we started this podcast. Yes, why not?
Yeah. Wow. That's called false inducement where I come from. It's called blue skies. There's some laws against this. I don't know why I listened to you, but here we are. It's been fun so far, yeah?
It's been amazing. And might I add, I just got a text message. Someone who heard our podcast just showed up at La Playa right now, sent me a cheers with their Negronis from the lobby and saying, this is awesome. So already a conversion.
Amazing. Nice. I just came back from my favorite country on the planet, Japan.
Ooh.
This was my 6th time, and it is never a bad idea. And if I haven't googed and gogged and Google-gagged about it before, I will do it, and I will do it again. It truly is just a magnificent, special place. And my dream, though, is people ask me about a bucket list all the time. I say, I don't have such a thing. I have a to-do list, right? With 2 exceptions. Listeners out there, 2 exceptions. Number 1, being invited to, not buying my way, not paying for it, to the Met Gala. Invited to. So anyone needs a +1, I'm your guy. The second bucket list item and only is a month in the backcountry of Japan in a car with a native speaker and literally wandering aimlessly with no itinerary, stopping in a village somewhere, going into someone's house, Bourdain style, and eating things I can't pronounce, have never seen in my life. So.
Yeah, well, now you're speaking my language because that's my favorite thing to do is to flaneur. And generally, like being a yes person, when you're flaneuring around, amazing things happen. You also, because you don't have any expectations of what's going to happen, and you're open to receiving information, food, kindness, because you have your eyes open. You're looking, and you're incredibly present in the moment. You're not thinking about the past or the future. And in that state, there's no anxiety when you're in the now state.
My favorite flaneuring story, again, one of my favorite words, is I am literally wandering aimlessly in the streets of Tokyo, random neighborhoods, and I come upon this light on the hill, this glowing beacon, and I walk up to it, beautiful wooden doors with glass, and I slide the doors open, and I walk inside to a cassette-only store, new releases.
Oh my God.
Mind blown. Of course, I am there for literally 3 hours. I am buying cassettes that I do not need and will not use. But it was such
do you have a cassette
Japan,
player?
Tokyo moment that just blows your mind away. This guy, Japanese guy, worked for Amazon something, made a bunch of money, and followed the why not. He says, I love this, and I'm going to do it. Why not? Boom boxes, reclaimed, refurbished Walkmans. I mean, it's called Waltz, Waltz. And if anyone goes to Tokyo anytime soon, it is truly, and I'm a Gen Xer, as I know you are, and it was like, oh my God, like this is, I just won the lottery.
It's like a nostalgia mecca. Oh my God, yeah. And you know what? It actually seems so perfect for Japan. They really are meticulous in their details, in their craftsmanship, and like to have a cassette only store seems perfect
Mind blowing.
and would be incredible to go into there. You have an interesting bucket list. My things are more experiential in the way of like I'd love to dance with the Rockettes on stage. I
Oh,
think that would be
hey,
super fun. Or in some capacity. It doesn't need to be like with the
that would be my
outfits.
biggest nightmare, not my bucket list. I'd be like, oh my God, you would have to pay me a lot of money and induce me full of a lot of drugs to
Oh my
walk on
god.
that stage, let alone dance.
Oh good. I thought you were gonna say to watch me do it.
No,
That would be your
I will
biggest
pay a
nightmare.
lot of money to not watch you do it.
I would also love to do improv with some of the greats. Steve Martin and Martin Short are my two all-time favorite idols, and I
Wow,
would love
okay.
to do
That
some
I'll watch.
improv with
That I'll
them.
watch.
That would be super fun. Well, actually, now that you mention it, what did come to me is Japan reminded me of the ultimate hospitality culture. And I think this might be a good tie-in to start to introduce the property that we're going to talk about this episode, the downtown LA proper hotel.
I mean, look, to me, Proper as a brand is truly the quintessential nouveau brand. It brings it's such an interesting intersection between old world but modern. It's five-star hospitality but super approachable and not stuffy. I often use the analogy. I say, look, if you're a Four Seasons Ritz-Carlton person and you're looking for a fresh perspective on that world, Proper is the way to go. And that name, by the way, come on. LA proper, Boston proper, Austin proper. I mean, I love the name and I love how simple it is, yet so elegant. And it seems like, I mean, again, those are the names that really make the biggest difference.
There's something about this idea that you're saying, this idea of luxury, where it's not over the top in your face, dripping gold everywhere. There's something about quality and ease, but beauty and elegance. But it's done in such a refined, seamless way with the architecture, with the design, with the interiors, with the furniture, with the food, with the craftsmanship, with the welcoming experience. Everything is all done to that level of luxury. There isn't one thing that hasn't been considered, and that's what makes it such a unique property. What I found the most captivating was that it contained everything around Los Angeles. Like it was Los Angeles artists, Los Angeles craftsmen, but brought in the culinary elements and it used all local artisans for the whole project.
I mean, a lot of those words that you're using, when others use them in our industry, I call it vomit inducing, handcrafted and curated and local and artisanal and all that business, because they've become empty words. But when you see them executed beautifully, you understand what they really mean. And to your point, that is a quintessential example.
And it feels like a private members club.
Everyone can coexist beautifully and harmoniously. That's the magic. I always like talking about when we all go in the ocean, no matter how rich or how poor you are, what your background is, whether your bathing suit was Hermes or you bought it from TJ Maxx for $10, it doesn't matter because we're all the same when we're in the water. It's an equalizer. And some of these spaces make you feel good in such a way that you feel like you belong, right? I mean, I've trademarked this idea of longing for belonging, and it applies to everything we do. If I walk into a place and I feel like I belong, no matter who I am, what's in my bank account, what car I just pulled up into, what watch is on my wrist, that's the magic.
Yeah. Well, now I have a big question for you. What kind of bathing suit do you have?
You'll never see me in one. You'll see me in my bathing suit is probably a pair of jeans and a pair of sneakers running around New York and Tokyo.
Okay, so no bathing
I
suit.
cannot do beach. Don't give me beach.
uh,
By the way, talk about the incredible piece of art that is in the elevator lobby.
Well, I was kind of shocked actually. I wasn't sure. Was I really looking at a Picasso? What is happening in the lobby? And I like laid down on the floor trying to take a few pictures, and then my son took a photo of me laying on the floor taking a photo of that, which is ridiculous.
I'm sure he's used to your neurotic behavior by now.
Actually, he knew to grab the phone and start taking photos of me when I got into my element. So yeah. But that piece there was so stunning and so captivating. And I love Picasso. I've been to the Picasso Museum, and I've been a huge fan forever of his. But that piece was incredible. But I think because I had my son with me, my crushes ended on like the 9-year old spectrum, because when we walked into our room there was this dome full of cookies and pastries and we just like loved it and started attacking that thing.
It's gonna be. I mean, that hotel is so unique and special. It really is one of a kind in downtown LA. I
they
mean, you wouldn't.
they
It's such a gem. You wouldn't expect it in downtown LA. Anyway, we will do it no justice, no matter how much we gush and crush about it. I can't say enough. You've got to try it. It really is. And by the way, given the urban issues we're seeing on the West Coast, downtown LA, no exception. It literally is like an oasis when you walk in. You don't know where you are. You could be in Paris, you could be in London, you could be anywhere. It's amazing.
the rooftop, all the plants and the trees up there make it feel so private and so
The
cool,
multi
incredible. There's a pool up there, and we had my son had lobster rolls for the first time, blew his mind, boom, loved it. But let's all of this, I believe, is not only attributed to the brand, but our guest in particular
Sure.
is a lifelong hospitality guru guy. This guy's amazing.
Professional hotelier is how I describe him. He's not just a hotel guy. I'm a hotel guy. He is a professional hotelier. He's a fantastic human.
This
Such a
guy
great tool.
also oozes cool. Stefan Lecroix is just
Exactly.
so cool. This amazing Frenchman, and just incredible, also kind spirited, joyful human being. Just a
And
pleasure.
and a full head of hair and a good looking bastard to boot. I hate him for it.
I see that you might be a little jealous about that.
Yes, thank you. Exactly. I am very jealous.
Amazing. Well, let's turn it over to Stefan Lecroix.
Brooks,
Hello.
what's
Oh
happening?
my God, can you hear me?
OMG, it's working.
I love that we just jumped right in as if you were the co-host because Bashar is not here today, and so we just started off
I'm
with
filling in for Bashar, don't tell him.
totally. And you have such a beautiful way of speaking. I love your the accent. So maybe Bashar, but watch out. Stefan's coming for your co-hosting job. But
I
since
love
we're
it.
on it, today's guest is Stefan Lecroix. You're a lifelong hospitality expert extraordinaire, over 20 years. I worked at some of the greatest hotels on the planet: Beverly Hills Hotel, Hotel Bel Air, New York Palace, the Ritz-Carlton in San Francisco, Bellagio in Vegas, the Hotel Paris de Monte Carlo, Watergate in DC, and the Ritz in Paris.
Yep.
You're an amazing person. I loved our time together when I was at the Proper. Incredibly thoughtful, and just like very grateful to have you on today as our guest. So thank you so much.
Great to be here. Thank you.
Like, we'll get into all the details of the hotel and stuff, but let's just, if you let's flow together for a second.
I love it, Brooke. I love it.
I've been thinking about hospitality, and in particular place,
Yep.
this idea of place.
Yep. Yep. Sure.
And since we're talking about place, like, let's just kick it and be like, why Los Angeles, man?
To me, it's not a city. It's a lot of different little hubs. And based upon the mood, based upon what you have in mind, I mean, you'll always find something fun to do in LA. And you know that most likely you can just plan anything you wish. The weather is going to be there for you. And so LA has been home for now 12 years.
Yeah, and you talked about New York, and I lived there for many years, like over 15 years. There's obviously an energy in New York that people talk about, but I also think there's an energy in LA. It's different for sure, but there's something about LA that has its own unique signature, almost like a thumbprint of energy that I haven't felt in any other cities. And I lived in Paris and Chicago and New York, and traveled around the world. But there's something very unique and specific about LA that's so different from every other city that it's almost undefinable. Like, it's
Yep.
hard to summarize LA, and that's what I love about it. It's like so mysterious.
Maybe what I see, and I know you earlier on you talked about uncommon luxury and unconventional luxury, and to me it's uh, LA is a hub, a creative hubs where you have all these talented, world-class artists that are either making LA their home or are, coming in and out from New York, from Europe, from around the world. And there's all this creative energy that comes to the city and comes to our properties where it's fun to meet the team. It's fun to meet the guests for the team because, well, they're well traveled, they're seasoned travelers, and they're very open-minded. They want to succeed. They are driven. They are people you want to honestly strike a conversation with. You want to get to know them, and quite often, not only do we hopefully exceed their expectation when they stay with us, but they inspire us as well because, to your point, the energy is here. You can feel it. It's in the air.
Yeah, you can feel it and you can taste it. Let's kind of jump back to the building, the place, the site, because this building is incredible. This has this Renaissance Revival architecture. It's one of the most stylish hotels on the planet. And yet it's also distinctly LA. Amazingly enough, I brought my son, Fitzgerald, he's 9, and it blew his mind. This was the first time my son had been in a hotel like this. And he immediately went for the robe, put it on, and declared this question to me: is it possible to live in a hotel?
Well, I tell you one thing: once you check in, it's tough to check out. I say that, right? And here's how I feel, Brooks: is amazing opportunity for us. Back, we launched the property 2.5 years ago now, and I've been, with Proper Hospitality for the last 5.5 years with Brad and Brian, and joining them, at the time I was at the Waldorf Astoria Beverly Hills. I had launched this amazing product in Beverly Hills. But I felt that after many, many years, maybe too many years in the 5-star luxury segment, speaking to the guest, there was an interest in allowing for the guests to be themselves and allowing also actually for the team to be themselves, allowing for myself to be able to also be myself. And so maybe take the formality out of it and allowing for the team to have fun, allowing for the guests to have fun. And I tell you, you look at this property, it's right in South Park district, the most residential, the safest, the cleanest district in Los Angeles, in downtown Los Angeles. You're 5 blocks away from the Crypto.com Arena, LA Live, and the Convention Center. You're a 5-minute drive from the Arts District, which is currently bustling with, museum, Hauser and Wirth, and restaurant and bar and coffee shop, which is fun. What I love about the property itself, it has such a strong sense of identity. And as we travel around the world and stay in beautiful hotels, there are times when you wake up in the morning, you're not quite sure where you are, honestly, whether it's the jet lag or just the design or the feel or the vibe. And what I do enjoy about the DNA of Proper Hospitality is that the strong sense of identity is extremely important.
And we'll be right back. With city lights and vintage brick as a backdrop, downtown LA proper is the reimagination of a historic Broadway corridor landmark into a 147-room destination hotel. The vision of renowned interior designer Kelly Wearstler, who layered the building's original character from the 1920s with elements of Spanish, Portuguese, Mexican, and Moroccan design. In addition to vintage furniture and rugs, Wearstler employed more than 100 different kinds of tile throughout the hotel. Notable original art elements include site-specific murals and installations by Abel Macias and Ben Medansky. All right, back to the show.
So the guests can experience Los Angeles. And I think what Kelly Wearstler, Brad Cousin's wife and world-class interior designer did so well is celebrate the history of the city, celebrate the history of the building, and allowing for us to just bring it back to life through the design, through the different activations, through the F&B outlets and venues, and really allowing for the community to come in and be able to, enjoy a property that dates back to 1926 and feels as if it had always been activated. I think that's obviously you bring it to the modern era thanks to the technology, but really it's being able for the guests to immerse themselves into downtown LA and allowing them to truly enjoy what LA has to offer, which is the element of history and the California lifestyle. I mean, I know you spend some time on the rooftop early in the morning, late at night, and seeing the city like this. There's nothing like it.
I love not creeping around. I was really enjoying myself and not snooping either, but I loved going up on the roof when no one was there. It feels Well, first to experience the hotel through my 9-year-old son's eyes was extraordinary because he was just as giddy as I was. When we first walked into the room, there was this glass dome full of pastries and delicious treats. Extraordinarily beautiful, and you had indicated that they were all baked and made on site, which was incredible. And then my son discovered the robe and declared like he was never leaving and wanting to live in a hotel, and I absolutely love that idea also. I love living in hotels. But there's something, like you were saying, Kelly Wersler, the design, there's something very specific about this building. The bones and guts and soul of this building is so unique and captivating. And Kelly was able to bring out, the interior designer was able to bring out all these unique qualities. So everywhere my son and I would run to, basically, because we would run to the restaurant and the elevator, because there's 2 restaurants, and then we would go up on the roof, there's a pool, and we were sitting in all the chairs and all the different lounge spaces. We always felt special. We always felt like celebrities in our own way, like cared for, but like whatever we needed was just like appeared when we needed it. Like I didn't have to ask for anything. It was just like, oh, would you like a drink? Or how about some lobster rolls? Or, everything was just right there when we needed it. And that's this idea of invisible hospitality that I love. And that's what's this idea of uncommon luxury. It was just like perfection. Like everything was perfect. Like it's hard for me to say that like I wouldn't change one detail. And in this place, I wouldn't change one detail. It was perfect.
Or maybe checking out a few days later.
Yeah. Oh, man.
I'll tell you, I feel the product, I like to say that Kelly and Brad, they set the stage for us. And I feel that's the fun part, because when you see a guest arriving and your valet team is, ready and anticipating, and the security, the lifestyle host is ready to open the door and anticipate their arrival, personalize the arrival. Again, we want to take the formality out, but when it comes to the attention to detail, the drive, and just the sense of pride of hosting guests, I think that's the main focus from the team. We love what we do. We love the product, and we want to ensure that to your point, as you're wandering around the property, you should never feel that we are overly present, but you should always feel like anything that you may need, that should be just eye contact.
Yeah,
it should be just eye contact, and that's I think we've been open now for 2.5 years, and we are starting to stabilize. And there's been so many great achievements for the team in very little time, but we keep activating some of the venues. You saw Dahlia, our intimate cocktail lounge, which we launched last May. Well, last weekend we launched our afternoon tea in Dahlia, and so we are really looking at how do you allow for your guests to stay on property, or for the community to come on property. And maybe there's a desire to, have a drink at the rooftop, and then have dinner at Caldo Verde, and maybe have a drink at Dahlia, before you head out, or, once you come back from your game at the crypto.com, or from your concert at the Disney World Concert Hall. There's so much you can do on property, and that allows for us to really enhance, elevate, and provide, I think, a one-of-a-kind experience for the guests and for us.
Yeah, amazing. I love that you mentioned the arrival experience, because that was one of my crushes, actually. We pulled up, and the valet whole arrival procession was incredible. It was beautiful ease. We seamlessly just walked right into the front door. Everything was kind of taken care of, and it was an incredibly beautiful, almost romantic way of entering into a building. And then you enter this lobby, and it's just like absolutely so captivating, gorgeous, through the design and the hand-painted walls and the ceiling, which reminds me about the history of this building, that it was a social club. And then it was some kind of gymnasium as well. So it has this pool.
YWCA, yeah, it was a commercial club of Southern California back in 1926. So think about private club now, or they are doing so well. Well, back in the 1920s, there was a private club right in the heart of downtown LA, so that businessmen were able to socialize and talk about business and look at ways to bring business to Los Angeles as well. It became a club, a hotel. It was a Case Hotel in 1945, and then it became the YWCA in 1965 until 2004. And so for us, it's just another chapter of that amazing property that soon enough will be 100 years old. I mean, that's kind of incredible. And um, I said that when we launched the property in October 2021, obviously we were all dealing with the pandemic, and so I would say 65% of our guests were actually from Los Angeles. And it was so fun because having them on property, having them on the rooftop, they would say to me, Stefan, I was born and raised in LA. I have never seen my city like this. And so
Amazing.
when you hear this, you're like, all right, here is the validation. We're doing something right. Let's just take it to the next level now. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned uh, the locals kind of validating it, visiting and staying there during the pandemic, and I just feel like so stupid. Like I didn't even think about moving into a hotel during the pandemic. That would have been amazing.
For sure. For sure.
What a great idea.
Some people did and they loved it, and we loved it as well because it allowed for us to be busy. Nobody was flying it and no one was flying out, so we just had to have fun and anchor down together, which was great memories for sure. Yeah.
Well, it has such a Hollywood, history as well. I think if I read correctly, the social club had members like Cecil B. DeMille and Harry
Correct.
Warner. So super Hollywood ties and super Hollywood connections. That's like really fascinating. I loved some of the crushes were like that secret Dahlia, the lounge, which was really amazing to experience that space. I couldn't decide which place to go. Like I loved the lobby. I loved hanging out in the lobby lounge. I loved going up on the roof. And my son and I just kind of kept running around. Like we couldn't pick a spot to stay at. And our room was so fantastic and rather large. It had a whole living room and then a separate bedroom and two bathrooms. And my son was just like, "Hey, this is cool. I can live here. Like this is pretty big, you know."
You set new standards for him now.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I think to your point, Brooks, I think the beauty of a great hotel is you let the hotel come to you, and once you check in, hopefully that flawless, arrival is extremely important. First impression, and whether you're here with us for leisure or business, just leave it to us to do the thinking, and for you to be able to just relax, enjoy based upon your mood, based upon your day. Being able to sometime have lunch upstairs in Caracas, sometime have dinner downstairs at Caldo Verde, and I think what it does, it gives you so many fun options. We are obviously very fortunate, partnering with Suzanne Goin and Caroline Stein. They're from LA, born and raised. They've been in business now for the last 28 years. Very successful, dynamic duo. They both won the James Beard Award for Best Chef of the Year for Suzanne in 2016. And Caroline won Best Outstanding Restaurateur of the Year with James Beard in 2018. And so they know the city, they know the product, they know the expectation from the community. And so what it has done for us, first, we have world-class operators in the building with us. Not only that, we truly deliver a California experience throughout the property, whether you're getting married, you're having breakfast, or you are just having a cup of tea in the afternoon. But I think what it does as well is it allows for the community that has been following Suzanne and Caroline for so long to come and see us. Because most of their venues are either in Brentwood or in West Hollywood. And so now they have a venue with their flag that's here in downtown LA that caters to the East Side crowd as well, which is great.
The restaurants and the food are so good. It's incredible to not have to leave the property at all. Like we didn't want to leave. We wanted to stay forever. And I think, I was trying to sum up like what are my actual crushes? And it's really the complementary like idea of all these local artisans all contained within the property. So it's the food, the art, the design, this everything is coming from Angelinos. And it's all part of this ecosystem and essence that makes it such a truly unique property and place. Back to the kind of original idea of like, what is place? Like this place is nailing the idea of place. It's perfection all around because it's multifaceted and you're using all these local amazing people.
Correct. I think it connects the dots. That's one. Kelly, through the design and the relaunch, being able to connect with David Judson from Judson Studio, That's the oldest family-owned stained glass operator here in the US. They're in Pasadena and Highland Park. You've got obviously Ben Medensky, world-class artist who's also in LA. We did this amazing mural in the pool suite that I know you get a sneak peek of. When you come into the property, I know you spoke about Abel Macias, amazing mural that sets the tone as soon as you come in. It's in the spirit of celebration and just being approachable and just welcoming. That's really what it is. So 15 more world-class artists that are from Los Angeles that are really, setting the stage for a one-of-a-kind product that really screams Los Angeles.
I mean, just to mention the pool suite, there's two kind of presidential suites. One is the pool suite, so it's a hotel guest room, big suite with a swimming pool right in it. Incredible! Like
you said it. You said it.
blew my mind. You didn't tell me. We walked in and I was like, "What is this?" And it's a full pool in the room in your own suite. And then obviously it has a separate bedroom and like lounge space and stuff. Incredible Moroccan kind of tiles in the bathroom, and it's just like a gorgeous. Who was the artist that did that tile wall, like 200 feet wall?
That is Brooke. That's Ben Medensky. Yeah, and Kelly and Brad and Brian worked with Ben also at Santa Monica proper, our sister property in Palma, which is really the lobby venue at ground level. You have this beautiful Ben Medensky terracotta back bar in Palma, and well, obviously in downtown, it's a much larger. We'll call it an exhibit, maybe installation by Ben that just enhance this amazing 2,800 square feet pool suite that has in the living room a 35 feet by 12 feet pool, full on indoor pool.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. You mentioned the proper in Santa Monica, which is not far from the downtown proper. And when you and I were in person at the hotel, you actually had suggested and told me this amazing story that people stay downtown at the proper, and then on the weekend they'll go to the proper in Santa Monica and get the best of both worlds. You got the beach over there, and then you have the downtown. Like, what? That's a genius idea.
That's correct. I feel that when the travelers come to Los Angeles, when they stay in downtown, there's a purpose of staying in downtown LA, whether it's business, whether it's leisure, games, convention, and so they will stay with us for a couple of nights, and then they head out west to be a few blocks away from the ocean and enjoy a property that's almost double the size. We have 147 rooms. They have 271 rooms, and I opened that property, so I know it quite well back in June of 2019. Fantastic property that has more of a coastal element to it, but again curated by Kelly and many world-class local artists as well.
What a great idea, going from downtown to Santa Monica by the beach. Incredible. The other crazy room is the basketball court room, which was an actual basketball court, and they preserved some of the details and the high ceilings, and then did their own unique twist with the interiors of that. How is that room playing out with groups or events or wedding parties? I think you mentioned like a wedding party rented out a bunch of rooms at one time. Yeah,
correct. Yeah, the basketball suite, Brooks, is one of the most unique I would say accommodation we have. It's 1,400 square feet. Obviously, it's the ceiling height is as high as can be, so you can shoot a hoop. Kelly partnered with Killian Spencer, who's a Frogtown artist, to have this beautiful installation of an actual hoop with plush basketball, so the guests can have some fun with it if they wish to. But truly, it's to celebrate the history of the property. And what it has done is amazing overnight accommodation, as well as it's been a fantastic non-traditional event space for us with, many of the smaller gathering, 20, 25, 30 guests, drinks, cocktails, past hors d'oeuvre, but also for some of the more corporate gathering, they can airplay. We have a very large TV screen there, 72 inches. And so you're able to airplay your presentation, brainstorm, and whether you're working on, strategic initiative for your business, what an amazing property or venue to be able to connect with your team. It's 1 bedroom, 1.5 bath that connects to a junior suite. So you can add another 700 square feet if you wish to. Great for small weddings, small gathering, and just an ode to the history of the property and the building. Really, it's I think what Kelly mindset was, how can you just celebrate those one of a kind amenities and reinvent them as unique suite? And that's really what the end product has been.
That's exactly what I was just about to say. It's that no detail was left untouched, and it was all honoring the essence of the building, right? It was like, oh, let's use what we have. Let's use this pool, turn it into a guest room, and let's use this basketball court and also turn it into a room. It's an incredible place that you could use for events or stay there. It's an amazing space. The sense of place is so unique. I can see why people are saying it's like one of the best designed hotels on planet Earth. I never wanted to leave, and it was sad actually checking out. But I did have to get my son off to school and back into reality before he moves into the hotel.
Yep.
But Stefan, thank you so much for your time today. Super appreciate it. Love the place. Can't wait to come back many, many times just to eat, if anything. And obviously, I'd love to stay there every night.
Listen, Brooke, can't wait to welcome you back. Can't wait to welcome back Bashar, who stayed with us also multiple times. And I think luxury really ties in about the experiential element. That's really disconnecting and finding a way to somewhat immerse yourself into the product. And that's what I think the team has done so well.
Yeah, I love the experiential aspects of all the parts, and I do love a good tea ceremony. So looking forward to coming back for some tea. Let's set up a date, and maybe we can get Bashar to join us.
Love it. Thanks, Brooks.
All right, thanks so much.
Look forward to seeing you very soon.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Thank you so much again for your time.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Bye. Ciao.
We'll be right back. Downtown LA proper is home to 2 destination restaurants in partnership with James Beard award-winning LA chef Susan Goin and Carolyn Stein. Caldo Verde and Cara Cara, a city view rooftop pool, bar, and restaurant. There's also an intimate speakeasy-style lounge, Dahlia, open by reservation only for afternoon tea, and in the evening, craft cocktails and small bites. The hotel has been photographed countless times, most notably its 2 one-of-a-kind suites, which were once the basketball court and indoor pool of the building's sporting club past. Now, back to the show. And now for our surprise guest. We are so honored and fortunate to have Kristen Kish here on the show with us. She's the chef and partner of Arlo Gray in Austin, Texas, the host of Bravo's Emmy award-winning Top Chef. She's also a host and producer of Restaurants at the End of the World on National Geographic Disney Plus, and amazing, in 2023, she was named Time's 100's Next, Adweek's Creative 100, and Marie Claire's Power List. Welcome to the show. It's Kristen Kish, everybody. Woohoo!
Hello.
Oh my God. And may I say, I think I read this correctly. You grew up in Michigan, which is my home state as well.
Oh, is it? Whereabouts?
I was born in Kalamazoo.
Right. I always would catch the Amtrak train when I moved to Chicago to go to culinary school. I would catch the train in Kalamazoo.
Amazing. Oh my
Yep.
God, that's crazy. It's amazing how many people I'm meeting from Michigan in this world that are no longer in Michigan, but what an
Yep.
amazing place.
It was a great place to grow up. I have so many fond memories. Summertime in Michigan, there's nothing like it, especially when you go up, up north. It is so beautiful. And as an adult now, I can appreciate it every time I go back.
Amazing, and I want to hear all about your train rides into Chicago from from Kalamazoo. Let's jump in. Stefan LaCroix is like the maestro of all time of hospitality. Like, what an incredible gentleman on all levels. And I had just the most extraordinary stay there with my 9-year-old son, who declared that he wanted to figure out a way to live in a hotel and asked if that was even possible.
Yes, you definitely want to live at the LA proper downtown. It is, I mean, yes, of course, Stefan adds this magic to it that I don't know if it would have without him. He is certainly a magician in the hospitality world and makes everyone feel welcome. But I mean, it's just such a beautiful place.
We were having so much fun kind of snooping around, my son and I. One, I'm like wearing ridiculous silk robe and a funny camera, and then with a 9-year-old in tow who's also wearing the house robe from the hotel, we're like quite a pair, so people aren't sure what to do with us. So we're just kind of
That's awesome.
wandering around the hotel, like touching the walls, and we're sitting in all the chairs.
Yep.
I can't believe like how beautiful the architecture is, and then the way that they were able to capture the essence through art, through colors, through textures. That whole lobby experience was beautiful. What was some of your favorite crushes?
You know, what's interesting is that as I've gotten older, I've come to appreciate things that aren't necessarily my home style. So I think we have, when we travel, we can appreciate beauty in all forms. And so what I love now, especially, I mean, at that property is the amount of texture and patterns and different things going on, but seemingly your eye remains very calm, but it continues to jump from thing to thing to thing, whether that be a texture that gravitates you towards, wanting to sit into it, or like you were saying, makes you want to touch it, or quite frankly, just admire it from afar. When you walk in there, there is this sense of relief from the city streets, but there's so much interest and intrigue that's happening that it doesn't make you feel bored. Um, and I have always claimed to call myself very much a minimalist, and I would say I veer towards that. Um, but there is, I find when there's this balance that not only makes you feel calm but keeps your eye interested. Those two things together really are just, that's a place that you don't ever want to leave.
Yeah, I agree. Their like kind of tagline a little bit from the proper is uncommon luxury,
Mm,
convenience of location, and like world class amenities. And you mentioned this calmness. Like I sometimes I get a little annoyed with terms like minimalism and maximalism,
hmm
and I agree with what you're saying. Like this is a maximalist type of place, but it's done in such a way that's so perfect. You
hmm
mentioned this idea of beauty, which is kind of a goal I have in life is to spread beauty around wherever I go and to interact with beautiful things and kind of create more beauty in the world. And this experience coming from outside to inside, from this bustling city of Los Angeles, and then you go into this historic building, which had lived many lives before, it feels as it was always the proper. Like it doesn't
hmm
feel like it was adapted from something else. It felt like it just dropped out of outer space and landed in Los Angeles.
hmm and I think when I've started paying attention to the actual uh, what's the right word, like square footage of a space. So when you walk in from the streets, it kind of pushes you into this tunnel. It's not a grand lobby in terms of width, certainly in height, but when you walk in, and it kind of um, compresses you into this space, right? So where you're supposed to go check in, there's just a small little desk. It's not overly uh, I mean,
Grandiose.
big,
Yeah. Yeah.
where it just kind of pushes you to where you need to go. And you get in the elevator. And I've had the great fortune of staying in several of the rooms, not only just, the simple guest room but also the basketball court room and the room with the giant pool. But
Oh.
there's this, oh yeah, it's been fantastic to explore all of the spaces. But to walk in, um, feel compressed. You go up your elevator and you kind of enter into whatever your guest room is, and it opens you up, like physically, mentally, emotionally. You're like,
Uh, you just passed a masterclass in architecture.
well, I recently learned more about Frank Lloyd Wright and the art of compressing and releasing,
That's exactly it.
and that duality. But you know, you certainly pay attention. I mean, how many times have we walked into, and I spend so much time in hotels. How many times have you walked into a hotel where one, you either feel nothing, right? Or you're just like indifferent. Or when I was younger, I kind of appreciated the walking into a party. I don't like that anymore, just as a grown adult that needs to quiet my mind. But there's like, again, there's this thing that just keeps it busy, your mind and your eye, but your mind is not, or
Yeah.
in a lot of ways.
Oh, there is something very powerful about a human going through a sequence of spaces. And you mentioned this idea of compression and expansion. The idea umbilical cord kind of came up to me when I was entering the lobby of this squeezing and then expanding out, but like going through this portal of a new land like I've never been to before, the lobby. And then when you go up the elevator and then into the guest room, it's just this like like releasing, and like now I can breathe. The guest rooms are so exquisite, and it's set up so beautifully when you come in. But you did mention the secret pool room, and I'm wondering, because I can only imagine, oh my God, if I stayed in the pool room, what would happen in there? So what do you do in there? Like, is the first thing you do when you get into the room just like strip down and jump into the pool? Or like what, what's the sequence of getting into the pool like?
Oh my gosh. I mean, we walked in and it was just, I mean, he didn't tell us Stefan did not tell us that we were staying in this room. He was just like, the front desk is like, we've got, we upgraded you to a little bit of a different room. And we were like, great. And never is it expected. And I certainly was not expecting an entire room with a pool. But, what I appreciate about it, and why those rooms are built, it's certainly, of course, for like this layer of luxury and uniqueness and something that you can, say that you boast at your property. But it's done from, I get my own kind of conclusion is because the building is so unique and it's historical, like you were saying, they have to play with the spaces that they're given. And so some rooms have a lower ceiling, some rooms don't have, windows all the way down, some rooms don't have certain things. So what do you do with this giant open space that you structurally cannot do anything with, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you put in a pool room, you put in a basketball court, you put in these grand activities for your guests. Not only does it make the room feel amazing, and how often do you stay in a room with a pool or a basketball court, but it's so smartly designed.
Never.
Yeah.
I've never had that experience.
And like, we'll get to the food and beverage in a second, but we walked in, there's this beautiful amenity with delicious treats, buckets of juices, because he knows that we're not big drinkers. And you kind of like walk in and you're like, wait a second.
What is this?
Just wait a second is happening. And then you're like a kid running around this room trying to discover all the nooks and crannies that the room has to offer.
What you just said, like all the things that I love, like, and then you felt like a kid. Like, how many times in your adult life does that ever happen? Like, very rarely. Yeah. And for a space, right? We're just talking about space. Right? Mm-hmm. For an interior space, an interior room, and you're just like giddy, running around. Like, I probably would have just dropped my bags and run fully clothed and jumped into the pool.
I thought about it. I did immediately take off my shoes and my socks and rolled up my pants and like stepped in the first step. It's just, I mean, to have this level of discovery, and this goes for the restaurants, and like we're already talking about the lobby, is like I feel like there's all these little turns and hallways and difference in height of ceilings where you're constantly looking up or around the corner, and you're kind of like tucking your head around, and all of a sudden you discover a new spot.
Incredible. Well, let's jump into the food. You know a little bit about food, so why don't you dive in? Like, tell me about the restaurant. Tell me about the food experience that you're having here.
I've learned to really understand that, hotel restaurants are not hotel restaurants. They're restaurants within the hotel space. And I also have one of those. And it just, when you tap into somebody who, like Suzanne Goen, who is a staple, classic, well-known chef in the LA area and beyond, she offers kind of that same calmness and serenity, but excitement in just who she is as well. If you've ever met Suzanne in person, she gives you that same calm, but you eat her food and you are taken by comfort, but also a little bit of excitement as well, in a good way. Nothing that pushes you way outside of a comfort zone, because also you're playing to hotel guests and travelers, and you're also playing to the LA market and the dining scene. So you have to strike this balance. And I feel like she is so brilliant at striking that balance. Her and her team and her chefs, who I've come to, see over and over and over again, are just lovely people, making delicious food. And, between room service, the rooftop bar, their new speakeasy cocktail lounge,
So sexy in there. I love that.
and the restaurant. I mean, there's the offerings are abundant, but they all go together.
Yeah, and she's a James Beard award-winning chef, and also Caroline Stein is there. But you did mention this. This is a very interesting concept, and you mentioned it kind of casually, but I think it's a huge deal, especially new into the hospitality scene, and especially at incredible hotels. And that's this idea that it's not just a hotel restaurant. It's an actual incredible restaurant that is in a hotel. And I never felt while I was staying there that it was just some kind of hotel restaurant. I felt like this was a very incredible experience, especially since my son and I are just like, let's try the lobster rolls. Let's try this. Let's eat this. And this is delicious, and sampling everything. But this idea of putting in an incredible food experience within a hotel, like talk a little bit about that, because you said you also own one of those.
I think when you think about what the idea of hotel restaurants are, when I think back to the ones that I grew up going to, we were driving across the country, or we're driving from Michigan to Florida to go to Disney, and just kind of stop at hotels that serve their purpose, right? You kind of pop in, you maybe have a quick dinner, and then you go to bed and you're out the next day. But, this new wave, I wouldn't even say new anymore, this years long category of chefs with intent, to not only make great food, but also bring something different to add to the culinary scene, not just playing to, of course you want to make a smart menu that appeals to all different kinds of people, especially in a hotel. You have, people from all over the world, but doing it with a lens that brings comfort. So you have all the hit points. You have, a chicken dish, you got a steak dish, you got some vegetables, you got this, but it all goes together.
Yeah.
It's not just a thing of like, quote, the greatest best hits of like steak frites and a club sandwich,
Right.
and chicken noodle soup. You know what I mean? Although delicious when done well, there's a level of intent and finesse that goes into when you bring someone like Suzanne going in.
Well, the beauty, like the attention to detail in every little dish is also paralleled in the hotel. Like that's like, to me, it's just like an incredible combination where the attention to detail of every little experience and touch point as a hotel guest is also happening in the restaurant at the same time. And that's why I think my son was like, hey Dad, is it possible to live in a hotel?
Yeah, I ask myself the same question every time I go there. I will say too, being someone, obviously my restaurant is my name, but I also have a really great team. So over the years, what's happened is that they've imparted their story. And the same thing, and a great chef that Suzanne is, and a great leader, she's allowed space for her chefs to also impart their own storytelling through food as well. But it all still goes under the lens of whatever, whatever theme that they're going for, but I've gone in and, the pastry chef, she makes these great desserts, and she made this pineapple mooncake, and I told her, I was like, shit, that was so good. She's like, oh, I grew up having these, and I love, when I go home, I loved eating these when I was a kid. And so
Amazing.
You get to play around with not only Suzanne's backstory, but also, she's giving permission to her team as well to explore their creativity.
Amazing to bring in like those personal touches and details. Like that's what makes things unique, right? When you hear that phrase of like, oh, I'm cooking with love, then the food tastes better. That's really true. I think that's really true. Well, Kristen, I'd love to visit Arlo Gray and Austin and have dinner together. You sound amazing and so fun. I'm sure we would have a great time together. Of course, growing up in Michigan is also an overlapping point. Thank you so much. It was really great having you on the show. Really appreciate your time, and we'll see you hopefully in Texas.
Amazing. Thank you very much. Have a good one.
Thanks, Kristen. Cheers.
All right. Bye-bye.
Hotel Crush is 100% handcrafted and full of heart. Co-produced by yours truly, Brooks Atwood and Gianna Wurtzel, and dedicated to all the flaneurs out there. Original music written and composed by Brian Rosenworcel, the drummer from Guster, and Daniel Friedman, the drummer from David Byrne. Thank you so much to our sponsor, the incredible downtown LA Proper Hotel, to our dear friends Stefan Lacroix, Brian DeLoe, and to the one-of-a-kind Kristen Kish. Please help us out. If you know of a hotel that we might have a crush on, or you or your company would like to be considered for the show, send us your crushes at www.hotelcrush.us. It's all good, don't be shy.